I'm staff writer Raisa Bruner, and I'm joined by actor Sofia Vergara and CEO of Kiva, Neville Crawley. Welcome to TIME100 Talks. So Sofia, this spring you launched a partnership with Kiva, which is a global microfinance nonprofit, to support their COVID-19 response fund. Why is this cause and this partnership important to you?
Well, I've always supported and believed in microfinance. I've seen the impact that providing small business loans to marginalized communities can have, and especially women-owned businesses. It gives them the resources that they need to afford education, medical needs. And, it was great to be partnering with Kiva because to launch this global fund, and because they have all the experience that we need for this, and they have all the resources. And it was perfect to support minority and female entrepreneurs and, all these group of people that are so in trouble because of the coronavirus.
Absolutely. And Neville, can you walk us through a little bit about how Kiva works and how this fund has managed to support some of these marginalized groups who are impacted?
Sure. So Kiva, we've been operating for 15 years and we've lent out about $1.5 billion in 90 countries around the world. And a typical Kiva borrower is someone in an underserved community. Could be right here in the US, could be around the globe, but it's someone who doesn't have access to traditional finance. It's often an entrepreneur. 80% of our borrowers are women. So it's really kind of at the edge of finance. Now, with our partnership with Sofia and the COVID-19 fund, we saw a particular need in this moment to get additional capital and get capital quickly. And so through this fund, we've had corporate partners, individual lenders, foundations all participate. It's allowed us to move a lot of money out quickly to people who really, even a day or two quicker to get financing, can make a difference between staying in business and going out of business.
Yeah. Are there any specific examples or businesses that you've been excited to see have a little bit of success because of Kiva's plans?
Well, it's super important because, microfinance is like a tool to help empower these women to create their own income. And two examples that I love is one from a Colombian woman, Liliana. She lives in Brazil. She's a refugee. And she was, making a living by selling Colombian food to the locals. But when the pandemic happened, she had just rented a space to have her own restaurant finally, and she had to close down like everybody else. But with a small loan from Kiva, she was able to change her business, and now she's making food and she is making money by delivering to the houses. So that's amazing. And for example, here in the United States, Kelly, it's a girl from Pittsburgh that she owned an art store and she had to close also. She was not selling anything. So with a 6,000 loan from Kiva, she, reinvented her own business, and now she's giving art classes online. So, it's very inspiring, and it's great to see that we can really, help these people survive in these horrible times.
Yeah. And I'm sure those are only, a couple of the many stories.
Yes.
And I'm curious, Neville, how you see Kiva specifically adapting to support these women, especially during this time.
I said one of the most important things is the speed of lending. There are a few different things, but speed is very important. So we've been able to fund, in some cases, loans literally in a matter of hours, sometimes in a matter of days. So that's very, very important. Because the money is crowdfunded, there's a couple of things in it. One is the crowd can be forgiving in a way that a financial institution can't necessarily. So we've been able to introduce interest-free payment periods of up to 6 months if someone needs a little more time with their business. We've been able to introduce credit limits. So we've been able to do a whole bunch of things. This has always been a part of Kiva, but it feels even more important now, is crowdfunding. It's the community lending. So it also gives people the message that the communities around you, they want you to be in business, and people feel supported as well as having access to the capital.
So Kiva has an international focus. I think you mentioned, Neville, like over 60 countries you have worked in, and especially right now, it can be really difficult for people to think beyond just their immediate communities. What would you like to say about why it's important for people, no matter where you live, to think about engaging in the broader global philanthropic space and microfinance space. Sofia, why do you think we need to start looking, beyond our borders as well as within our own communities?
Well, I think COVID affected everyone. It didn't care about any borders or anything. Everyone was forced to stay home. The economies were closed. Those in marginalized populations are always the first ones to get hit. So entrepreneurs and small businesses around the world, they need our help. They need us to survive because nobody else is helping them quick enough, like banks or the government. So they need us to recover from this pandemic as soon as they can. And microfinance makes their lives immediately better. It fuels local economies, creates jobs. It helps inspire new businesses. So it's amazing. We need to keep doing it.
Neville, do you have anything to add about that need to look beyond our own borders?
I guess I would just add that, there's more than 1 billion people in the world who today in 2020 don't even have a bank account. They're so far from having access to finance. Yeah. So the thing that we're doing with crowdfunding here, it really is critical to reach those people. And my great fear here is that the way that COVID is impacting the world is impacting the most vulnerable and the most invisible communities the most. And you have people who over the last decade have really lifted themselves up to kind of like the first rung of middle class ladder. They've become a small business owner. They're putting their kids through school. They're kind of really working hard on this. And COVID has the potential, unless without intervention, has the probability of setting back those hundreds of millions of people to where they were. And it will take decades for themselves to lift themselves back out again. So it's really critical that we have this intervention now and that we have it at scale.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of us don't think about is the lack of access to financial institutions, and especially when you're on that first rung of the ladder, how precarious that position is. So, is there anything else that people should be doing or can do to help support that specific slice that is in such a tricky situation right now?
I think there's lots of good things that people can be doing. There's moments for just direct giving when you're in crisis situations. And then, of course, what we're focused on is helping people to rebuild. So, selfishly for Kiva, I'd ask people just to come to our website and you can literally see people, see the faces, see the stories, and just directly not only make a loan for as little as $25, you can start changing someone's life, but you can also just read about stories and read people's struggles. And one of the things that I find most rewarding, when I do my own lending on Kiva, just like anyone else, is when you get the first repayment back, then you realize, oh my God, this is working. This person, they took the money, they did the thing, and they're making a repayment. This is working for them. So I think it's lending, but it's also just becoming aware and getting engaged with the need.
Sofia, you're an entrepreneur yourself. Can you talk a little bit about your own connection to the concept of entrepreneurship and why you see this as a really important thing especially for women, and especially women who don't have, access to traditional financial institutions to be a part of?
Well, I think actually personally, I feel like it liberates you when you're able to control your income. And usually, women are the ones that they don't spend their money on partying, alcohol, they spend it in their family, helping the kids, helping the family. So I think it's super important to help them because I think, it spreads more, and I feel like women have a lot to give, and personally, I love that Kiva does that they really, really, try to make an effort to help these, not only minorities and small, communities, but they're really focusing on helping women.
So I think we've all gone through quite a learning curve during this pandemic. I've been 6 months in one place personally, and I can only imagine how that has shaped both of your experiences as well. So I'll start with you, Neville, as a leader of an organization. What kind of changes have you needed to make to your company's work and processes, and what has been encouraging to you, especially during a time that's really challenging economically and challenging to get people to be comfortable giving and contributing?
So we're fortunate. Operationally, we already have a presence in Nairobi, a presence in Bangkok. We're kind of all over the US. We're a bunch of other places. So we were already on sort of Zoom every day and so forth. So we were sort of fortunate to hit the ground running in that sense. But I feel like 2020 for us, the mission just feels so raw and so relevant now. Even when I live in San Francisco and I walk down the street and I see restaurants that I used to go to or small stores that are shut and they're not coming back. So just the urgency, we're trying to operate at such a pace because we know that every day makes a real difference. So I feel, we just feel so critically needed right now. I'm kind of fortunate that, me and the team is all in. And also I'd say for our community, we've seen more lenders, we've seen more people putting money onto the platform to lend out. So even though people are going through economic hardship, we saw, I think from April to April last year to this year, we saw 70% growth or something in users. So it's really, I feel so heartened that even though we're all going through tough times, that people are still coming to Kiva, making loans and helping others.
That's very interesting. And what about for you, Sofia, personally, professionally, how has all of this shakeup changed you, or what have you been learning?
Well, when it all started, I think we were all panicking. I was panicking like everybody else. I was, I felt like I was hiding with my family inside the house, and I felt very lucky that I was able to be in the comfort of my house. I was like having my son, my niece, my dogs, feeding them, having time with them. I didn't have to worry that I could sit in my house and not do anything, and we could still have all of these things. And that's when I realized we needed to do something, and that's when I realized Kiva could help me help other people, and that's why I wanted to support Kiva in this fund. I think right now it's so important that we support each other, and I hope that like he was saying, people are now coming forward, people that don't have too much, they give a little bit. I hope that this, even after the pandemic, we keep going, we keep working towards financial inclusion for everybody, because this is the only way that a lot of people are going to be able to survive now and after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're looking at the year ahead and sort of planning for, how these long-term economic and pandemic-related changes might impact the work of Kiva, what kind of things do you have in mind? What are you excited about? Neville, we'll start with you.
We're definitely excited to continue to work with Sofia on the COVID funds, because as Sofia was saying, it's not about just the crisis now, it's about economic recovery, and it's about building resilience for people. So we're still very focused on that. And really what we've seen at Kiva in kind of other crises around the world that we've seen over the past 15 years, the demand for capital, the demand for a few $1,000s, once recovery starts to kick in, or once we get past this initial phase, it comes roaring back. So I think the COVID relief fund and the need for capital is actually only going to get stronger as the coming months. So we're just kind of super focused on enrolling people in the mission, with Sofia promoting the work that we're doing, and ultimately getting people to engage and lend a hand to folks who really need it.
Yeah. And Sofia, how are you planning on continuing your involvement, or what would you like to see happen as a result of your advocacy so far?
Well, I do want to encourage my followers and to my fans to donate. It can be, a small donation, or even by just spreading the word. And like I said, I would love this awareness and this increasing funding to continue well after the pandemic. So we're always helping each other and keep working towards the financial inclusion that I think we need. I'm very excited because, we're on the right track with the fund. We've, done even more than we thought we were going to do. So I'm very excited to see what we're going to be able to do in the future.
And there's one more question that we ask a lot of guests on TIME100 Talks, and I always find that the responses are meaningful, and that is, what gives you hope right now, and what's inspiring you to keep moving forward during this strange era? So Sofia.
I don't know, not watching the news. If I don't watch the news, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about the future. It's so confusing. You know, it's so hard because we're in the middle of this pandemic, we're in the middle of an election. It's crazy. All the things that are happening, that nature is doing, you know, hurricanes and earthquakes and things. I mean, it's never ending. So I am obsessed with the news, and my husband gets really mad. So I try, you know, to focus on things like little stories like the ones we have, you know, with Kiva, because it makes you realize, oh my God, like just this small amount can change the life of a whole family. That amazes me. You know, it doesn't have to be millions of dollars that these people have to receive. Just something that, you know, gives them a little oomph. So that's very hopeful. It gives me a lot of hope.
What about you, Neville?
Well, you know, I feel like I'm in an immensely privileged position to be able to be of service at Kiva right now. You know, I think there's a lot of people who want to help, and it's challenging. Where, as I said, some of us have been in our homes for 6 months, so it feels on a personal level, I get a lot of energy and just hope from being in this position. But I think when I, you know, Sofia said, tune into the news cycle a little bit too much or something, and start to, you know, feel that anxiety, I think I come back to these stories of people and communities helping each other. And really, I've just seen so much power in that someone just saying, I'm going to help you, and I'm not asking for anything back from it. I just want to, you know, see you do well. It's so profoundly changing for both parties. So I think I draw hope and energy from community and small acts of kindness.
Yeah. And what you said earlier about how you've seen growth in that interest in giving is so encouraging as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you so much, Sofia and Neville, for joining us today for Time 100 Talks.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Neville.
Thank you.
Bye.